Mr. Kelly for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, witnesses, for being here. First of all, I want to talk just a little bit about those comparability problems. When they have a whole of government and communist or socialist form of governments, they have lots of other things that go into a defense budget, whether it be cyber or other things that are not included in ours that are completely separate. So it's really hard to compare apples and oranges. Agreed?
That's correct, and I think you touched on another important point that I think that was central to both the national defense strategy and a national security strategy is that we're in a competition.
Yeah. Let me get to my next question.
Government tools, not just military tools.
In the 1930s, we had similarly situated folks. We had a rise in Germany, a rise in Japan. We had similarly situated folks in the United States who were advocating to cut our defense budget because we didn't need it. We didn't need to be able to project power. We didn't need to show strength through a strong military. And that resulted in 1941, December the 7th, in an attack on Pearl Harbor, and that drug us into a war. I believe in peace through strength. I do not believe in war, although I've chosen to defend this nation. I believe that's what we should be, a defense, but peace through strength. Fox Connor, Major General Fox Connor, Chief of Staff to General Pershing in World War I, warned Congress then that it was looming that if we did not invest in our military, that the result would be another world war. And that's what we got. I don't want that. That's why we must be. So in this budget, although we're calling it an increase, I would argue that it is a modest 1.3% increase against the Commission's recommendation, bipartisan, that said we should be 3 to 5% real growth every year. We're cutting $2.8 billion in old equipment or in equipment, with the majority coming from the Navy and the Air Force. We're supposed to be redirecting on China and Russia, which requires Navy and strategic air, yet we're cutting those programs. Understand this in this budget. It is a cut. We're doing away with OCO. You can call it what you want. There's $617 million that are going into green stuff. The last time we got promised a green fleet, by President Obama, that said it would be completely done by 2020, and it still doesn't exist, and we have no idea how much it cost America to do something that didn't produce anything. Not being prepared, just so you understand, creates a huge cost in both lives and treasure of the United States of America. With that being said, tell me how we are impacting our industrial base by cutting DDGs that should be built. The last time we did that, it cost us $2 billion to build a ship that was $1 billion before we delayed it a year. Tell us what the cost to the industrial base and to our defense. How much more is it going to cost us because we're delaying these budgets to buy new equipment?
Congressman, let me briefly respond and toss it to the Admiral who can give you more detail on this. But the understanding in the department is that the industrial base is backlogged on the DDG in particular, to the point that we could have the ship in the budget this year or next year. It would deliver at the same time, and so the impact was not assessed to be significant. But let me ask him to give more detail.
Yes, I would just add that as we look at the fleet we have now and the fleet that we're trying to kind of get to a more hybrid fleet. The makeup of that fleet is going to take a little time to get to. As we look this year, in particular in 22, I believe we have, we're bringing in 17 ships. We're taking a few out, as you already said. But clearly, one of the things we have to get at is how do we get to a more distributed, connected fleet that can, make it the adversaries.
Taking my time back, I want you to understand, taking that DDG as part of the integral air defense and against missile systems that we need, yet we're taking one off the table, which is with the Aegis system and other things, is really important. The final thing I just asked you guys to do, and I brought this up with Chairman Milley and Defense Secretary Austin yesterday, please make sure we reimburse our Guard and Reserve. Our men and women have given too much to the nation over the last year to have their Guard drills canceled at the end of this calendar year because we don't have the money to pay them for their COVID response, hurricane response, wildfire response, border response. I've got 155 BCT right now in the desert in California training. We owe them the $500 million we used to defend this capital. Thank you. Now yield back.